Serious violent felons and guns in Indiana. Can a serious violent felon legally own or carry a gun in Indiana? The short answer is no, and the consequences can actually be very severe. Hi, my name is Ben Shoptaw with the Marc Lopez law firm. I'm here to break down Indiana's laws around serious violent felons and firearm possessions, so you know where you stand and what to do if you're facing charges. So the first question is, what is a serious violent felon? Well, in Indiana, not all felonies are treated the same when it comes to your gun rights. A serious violent felon, or what we shorten to SVF, is someone who's been convicted of certain specific crimes. Think voluntary manslaughter, certain battery offenses, or felony burglaries. All of these offenses that are kind of violent in nature. But these aren't just any felonies, right? And as I said, these are particularly dangerous felonies. So Indiana law puts extra restrictions on anyone convicted of them. And there's a full list of all of the felonies that are included in the Indiana Code under 35-47-4-5. And until there's actually 32 different felonies that could qualify to make you an SVF. But the takeaway is this. If you've been convicted of one of these serious violent felonies, you're banned for life from possessing a firearm in the state of Indiana. So then the question becomes, what counts as possession, right? Because it's possessing a firearm as a serious violent felon is often the charge we see. And so what does possession mean? And we've talked about this in other videos. Actual versus constructive possession. You don't have to be caught with a gun in your hand or on your waistband or in your pocket to be charged. In fact, if a firearm is in your house, your car, or even near you, and the police think you had access to it, that could be considered constructive possession. So ownership is not required, only possession. And that's why we also tell people to keep guns out of their homes if they're on probation or parole. It's a common question we get asked of, maybe can my loved one, maybe can my spouse have a firearm in the home? Or I live with multiple people, what if they have firearms in the home? And it can become very tricky if you are designated as SVF, as a serious violent felon, because it's not ownership. It's not that you own the gun, it is that you possess the gun. And as we've discussed in other videos, that is the ability to maintain dominion or control over it. So if you're living somewhere and there's a firearm just sitting on the table and it's not yours, you could potentially possess that. So we oftentimes tell people, look, if you live with someone, and especially if you're an SVF, make sure that if the person you live with or someone in your home has a firearm, it's locked away in a safe that's in their bedroom that only they have the code to, right? Because if the police come in, or if probation or parole comes in, you want to make sure that your argument that you didn't possess that gun is as strong as possible. And if you're found to be in possession of a firearm as an SVF, the penalty is very serious. Possession of a firearm as a serious violent felon is a level 4 felony, and that means you're facing anywhere from 2 to 12 years in prison if convicted. So this is not something you just want to leave to chance. Additionally, there's federal law, and it adds another layer to possession of a firearm as a felon, even a general felon. Federal law actually has something under 18 U.S.C. section 922, where anyone convicted of a felony, regardless of the crime, is actually barred from possessing a firearm at the federal level. So even if your state charges don't stick, you could actually still be charged federally. So the bottom line is, both state and federal laws are working together to keep guns out of the hands of serious violent felons. So what do you do if you're charged? Well, if you've been charged as a serious violent felon in possession of a firearm, you need legal help immediately. These cases often will turn on whether or not the firearm was actually in your possession. And generally, what we might be talking about there is constructive possession, right? Did you have that ability to maintain dominion or control over it? Did law enforcement make mistakes? Was the search bad? These are all questions that need to be asked. And at the Marc Lopez law firm, we've handled these cases. We have individuals at the office that used to be felony guns and drugs prosecutors. So they know what they're doing. They know how to fight these cases. So if it's you or a loved one, you've picked up a possession of a firearm as a serious violent felon charge, or any gun possession charge, give us a call. We can take a look at the facts, 317-632-3642. And remember, always plead the fifth.